The mic is on. Testing. All right. Again, good afternoon, board. We are Students' Book of Jobs. My name is Hunter Lee, and I'm the Chief Operations Officer, and these are my colleagues.
I'm Kelly Gonzalez, the Chief Financial Officer.
Hello, I'm Taylor Kleck. I am the Chief Marketing Officer.
I'm Anderson, the CEO.
A little awkward, but... We find our niche in students. Students, overworked yet underappreciated. All students want to balance school and a job. However, a dilemma presents itself. Does the student choose to focus on his or her career path, or does the student choose to bear down on academics, ignoring the money they could be making? There's pros and cons to each, and these are serious trade-offs to consider. However, Students' Book of Jobs, the website we would be creating, would remedy this problem. We would link students to employers looking for part-time work. We would be convenient, a win for students and a win for employers. And we would bring local businesses labor while putting money in the students' pockets. After reading an article on Forbes, we came to the discovery that many businesses spend up to $4,000 looking for candidates, and Students' Book of Jobs would be a cheaper alternative to this conventional process.
All right, we're going to be targeting high school and college students who can't commit to having a full-time job, and we're going to start at the high school, and hopefully we can find students at SAC, UTSA, and FAISD. And our other customer is going to be the businesses in the area. And that can be anywhere from a coffee shop or someone working at an office doing spreadsheets. And they're going to be the most important, our customer, because they're going to be paying us to have the information to hire the students. And hopefully, in about a few months, we can actually go out and find everyday people who need odd jobs that can be filled.
Yes, Anderson. And to re-emphasize, we would essentially be doing the business as a service by gathering their labor and bringing it to them in the form of students.
So our total addressable market, which is the overarching market that we could maybe eventually reach, but right now it's kind of out of the question, is the businesses in Texas. There's about 579,168 businesses in Texas, which amounts to a potential revenue of $556 million. And that's based off an $80 subscription fee that they would be paying to us to use our service. Our serviceable addressable market, which is the more realistic goal and the people we want to reach, at least to start out, is the businesses in San Antonio. There are 117,546 businesses in San Antonio, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, and that gives us a potential revenue of $112,844,000, again, based off that $80 subscription price per month to use our service.
And to add on the $80 subscription price, we chose that number. Although it seems high, it is significantly cheaper than our competitors, who we will go over in a short bit, because their price is usually like more than $100. So just to give insight into why we picked that price, it's because it's a cheaper alternative. Competitors.
So of course, competitors is going to be a huge question that many people have whenever you start a business. So right now, our main competitors are Indeed, Snagajob, and Monster, with a few other ones such as ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, and CareerBuilder. They aren't as much of a direct competitor. So our biggest are the ones on top, and we realized that most of these on the top do not. Well, they more are for the professional, more established people looking for more established jobs.
And to add on to that, why investor or business should pick us, we would add more personalization into each student profile. So how the website would be set up is each student would set up a profile that would have resume, applications, and like insight into who the student is. So The deal with our competitors here is that you go into their search application and just type your address, and then they bring up a whole plethora of jobs you could be doing. And the people who are hiring you don't necessarily know who you are and what you're about. So Students Book of Jobs, the website we'd be creating, would allow businesses to see exactly who they're hiring. Marketing strategy.
A huge part of our marketing would be through social media. Just these would be our main sources to reach people. Guerrilla marketing is going to be a huge one for us too. We feel like we can do a lot as far as reaching out and kind of doing aggressive marketing tactics. And our direct sales, just going straight to the businesses and linking them with the students directly.
And to add on to social media, we would be using the Instagram application. It's a new application called IGTV, and what that allows you to do is post videos on Instagram and put it on your story, which allows anyone who visits your profile to view it at any time, so it doesn't necessarily expire. And IGTV would allow us to create videos and present it to all of Instagram, because we learned in our class that videos are the best way that students and millennials interact with new businesses.
So onto our finances. Our main revenue sources, as we discussed a little bit ago, would be businesses based on the $80 subscription fee to use our service. We would also be gaining revenue from advertisements on our webpage, which through research we found was normally around $2 per 1,000 impressions on an individual ad, which could depend on how many ads we run on our website. So, yeah. Our main costs are not really in the cost of goods sold, which is our production of each individual, I guess, linkage. It basically be mainly in startup costs and SG&A. SG&A being our legal fees, accounting fees, insurance, website maintenance, that sort of cost, and our startup costs being website setup, initial marketing, so getting the word out there for people to know about us, and hosting fees and other consulting fees. So our first year, based on our financial model, we're looking at about $65,000 in revenue, and then subtracting our costs, we would get $43,000 in revenue, which is a good number considering being a first-year business, and that was based off our assumptions that we would continue to grow. And then, as you can see by the graph there, our revenue and profit continues to grow through the next 3 years as well. So our minimum viable product is a concierge MVP. So we're basically going to be doing things behind the scenes. So people will be we'll be going out to businesses and asking them to give us what they need. So what employees do they need, what positions they need to be filled. And then we're going to be coming back to schools and universities and finding employees for those positions and linking the two together to start. We would also be using our MVP money to help create our starting website, because website, especially with us, it's going to be very interactive, very dynamic website, so it's going to be expensive, but we want to use some money to get that going.
Okay, so our timeline, starting February 15th, we would be surveying different businesses around San Antonio. We want to start around the Lincoln Heights area, but it's not just held to that. San Antonio is a big city. There's a lot of businesses that we could be talking to. Contact local schools starting February 20th. This is not just Alamo Heights, or for that matter, Northeast ISD, like Reagan, Johnson. We would be contacting more schools like in the San Antonio ISD area and the Northside ISD area. We want to reach the entire city so we can get the highest amount of students possible. We want to find basic employee base by March 5th and link employees to businesses starting March 15th to the 30th. And then from there, we will examine the results, see how much money we could get from there, and go from there. MVP costs. Taylor.
So if awarded the $500, this shows basically where everything would go. Number one, most important and the hardest to achieve would be our website design. Currently, if our ideas with maps and interactions, it would end up being a lot more than $250, but we can use that basic website to expand on it in the future a lot more. Hosting fee per year, that's also where a huge portion would go towards. Domain name, not as big, but it just as important. And all of our marketing and advertising is where the remainder would go, such as flyers, stickers, transportation, that kind of stuff.
Okay, board, thank you for hearing us out. We enjoyed presenting to you, and we hope you enjoyed hearing our presentation. So now we ask for the $500 to jumpstart our company, create a website, and get students employed. Thank you very much. We will be taking questions now.
So are you, is this, trying to understand if you're talking about getting a student a job?
Yes, sir.
Like where they are gonna have a regular schedule?
Yes, sir.
Or is this this business needs some temporary help for the next, 6 hours?
Yes,
and
sir.
I happen to be available for these 6 hours and I can go do that, but I can't commit to being there every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yes, sir. It would be the latter because we don't want, we're targeting students who have busy schedules and want to fill that allotted time requirement and that don't need to commit all of their time. If that answers your question, sir.
That does. So
Awesome.
I actually don't think your competitors are so much Indeed and those kinds of companies.
Yes, sir.
That's about finding somebody a job,
Yes, sir.
right? And this is different than a job. This is really about taking a shift.
Aye, sir.
So there's a business I want y'all to look at. I wrote it down on my sheet here. It's called Shift Gig.
Shift gig.
Okay, and they just raised a ton of money, and what they're doing is matching skilled workers with shifts, like somebody
Oh.
who knows how to do run a forklift. They can take a shift, not a job, but take a shift running a forklift in a warehouse.
Very cool. Thank you, sir.
But what y'all are doing, I think, is actually a subset of that market, which is really focused around teams. So I think there's actually enough difference between what they do and what you do.
Yes.
To really, so I would encourage you to look at that business and the way that it works and think about how can we create something similar to that, but specifically for teens.
Yes, sir. Shift gig. We'll remember it.
Two things I had. One is the subscription model. I look at that pretty hard because,
Yes,
so
sir.
let's say my business, we may need somebody once every year, maybe help us do a bunch of filing at the end of the year. Whereas
Yes.
somebody else who's maybe running a restaurant and they need a busboy over
Yes.
3 days. And so that restaurant maybe will get a lot out of the subscription model. It might keep me from doing it.
Yes.
So I'd maybe look at maybe some kind of tiered where based on the amount of times you actually use it or need it, you could prefer pricing.
Yes, sir.
And secondly, the whole idea, one of the keys on the student things is people, and we talked about this in another area, is people really want to help students out. And so that we'll give some leeway, so somehow positioning this as well as the students, whether it's they commit to using this for college expenses or something where at least the businesses feel like this is, I'm not just going to go to Monster. I'm actually going to do this because this actually makes me feel good to do this. So,
That is a great rhetorical device, sir, and we will use
so
it.
that's kind of a marketing play, and then also and then the students making sure that as they put their resumes on there, they give their dreams and aspirations, that kind of stuff. Where so.
That's a really good idea because we could put sort of a incentive that some of the money that goes to the student would automatically go to like a college fund or something.
If I'm hiring and what the student says, this thing is automatic and I'll vouch for it, even set up a bank account, is going into money that's locked away for college. I mean, that actually impacts the way I think about it.
That's a really good idea. Thank you for that.
So you said from a target market perspective, Because, I mean, we hire temps a lot.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
work for a company, a large company, but, you know, I'm just thinking, is this geared more towards more manual type labor versus larger companies? I'm trying to, because you know, even if I only needed somebody for a couple of weeks, maybe 2 days a week, right? Is that something you're also looking at? It's not just gonna be like, again, I get somebody for just, I mean, I know Mr. Sauer asked, is it just like a shift, like 6 hours? But if I needed somebody, let's say 2 days a week for the next month, and I could be flexible on that, and as a company, would you then, is that something that you would provide?
Yeah, that's what we want to do.
Well,
we want to focus on not just odd jobs like Anderson mentioned. Like you need someone to cut your grass. We want to focus also on that other sort of maybe not long-term job like I'm here 3 days a week for a year, but temporary like summer jobs, those sorts of things to help students get money. So
'Cause
yeah,
like, so,
stuff like
go
that.
ahead, go ahead.
So there are some competitors in that space that you should look at, like if you're talking about summer jobs and Mr. Tippett mentioned filing, you've got like Robert Half, Global Resource, there's a lot of companies that focus on temporary office type staffing that would employ students
Yes.
for those type of jobs. So there are some competitors in that space and you should look at that.
Okay.
So I think you guys just need to kind of define where you want to fit into this and get a very clear value proposition.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
No, I mean, we hire interns, summer interns, right?
Yeah.
At our company, and we hire people for, you know, for the Christmas holidays or spring break if they want to work for a week. You know, we do a lot of that, definitely the interns, you know, so, and that's what we're looking for, and then they, you know, so, but I think it does go back to selling that, you know, you're doing this to put towards college, or you're doing this, you know, what's the goal? And, you know, and I'll tell you, when you go into companies, even if you're a summer intern, you know, they do drug testing. You know, they do, I mean, I'm just bringing that up because they do, what we do anyway. So there's a lot of things you need to really think about if you're gonna, companies versus the different markets and industries that you're looking at, but it's a,
This is a big industry. And I'm just going to say you have a long way to go to define where you position yourself here.
Yeah.
Because just saying, I'm going to focus on teens doesn't do it. And the only other thing I have to say is in your financials, $65,000 of revenue, $43,000 of profit is unrealistic. You're going to spend a lot more than that on marketing, getting all your money and then some. And then a lot some is going to be going toward getting people to your website. So just, but what you really need to be doing is focusing on that positioning.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.